As 2023 winds down, we, like many of you, are looking forward to 2024, and in particular, looking forward to the technologies that we think are going to make the biggest impact for you next year. So let's dive in. Before diving in, I want to lay out the principles that I use when trying to make evaluations about what technologies I think are worth paying attention to. There are so many different types of technologies out there that can do different things for different people, and many times these kinds of videos are like do TikTok, do Instagram, do ChatGPT, and some of those are really, really relevant. But for me, what I'm often thinking about is, one, does this technology enhance people, productivity, or processes? Two, does or can it drive quantifiable results? Three, I prefer open source when possible so we don't get locked into very expensive per user or per transaction fees if we can avoid it. And four, I really think a lot about data as an asset. How do we use data to make better decisions, create new products, or deliver new insights that can help us do something better than we could have before? Particularly now in a post-ChatGPT world, where things that require decision-making but not continuous learning can be more or less automated, the hurdle for a lot of these things has gotten higher. And now we've started to really think about technology as augmenting our ability as humans to create and decide, and really focusing on the kinds of things that help us as people working with AI to be that much more productive. This is something I've talked about before in other videos, how we ought to think about AI alongside people, not necessarily as AI replacing our jobs, but rather us working together in order to deliver better, faster results than we could on our own by using the technology as a partner. With that in mind, let's talk about the three technologies that last year I said we would pay attention to and what we've seen happen since then. Last year, those technologies were 1, APIs, 2, AI, and 3, automation. Now, these things were big because ChatGPT had just come out, and it was already very clear that AI was going to be a game changer. If you want a recap of what I said last year and a brief description of what these technologies are, I encourage you to watch the video that I put out earlier this year, which we'll link to somewhere here on the screen. Now, over the course of the past year, as we've really dove into these technologies, nearly every one of our relevant metrics has grown by more than 200%. With that in mind, what are we looking forward to in 2024? Well, first, we're looking to evolve what we have, not replace it. So APIs, automation, and AI are still going to be a very, very big part of our technology stack and how we serve customers as well. But our roadmap will start to evolve, and it'll start to involve API-first headless websites, better digital asset management, and low-code tools for non-developers. I have another video on headless CMSs, what they are and why they matter, which we'll link to here. But the TLDR is that headless CMSs are where the web is going, right? In the past, web was about text documents, HTML documents. But in the future, and actually in the present, and more so in the future, the web is really about data. It's about APIs, moving information from one place to another, and it's about creating experiences that are personalized and data rich. Unfortunately, a lot of traditional CMSs like WordPress don't make that very easy. And so in the future, we'll be spending a lot more time on what are called headless CMSs, which are API-driven, data-first, and much more performant for the modern web. That doesn't mean we'll stop supporting traditional CMSs like WordPress or Shopify or things like this. It only means in the future we're going to be investing a lot more in headless solutions because they are the future of the web. And that'll start with transforming our own website from a WordPress site to a headless CMS. But digital asset management is really where I expect to spend a lot of our time next year. You see, in today's world, especially a world where we have generative AI, data is gold, right? If you want to, for instance, get better at your writing your product descriptions or putting together your quotes, the best thing you can do is train your AI on your data. You want to get better at customer service, the best thing you can do is take your data and train an AI to understand your way of approaching things. You want to figure out how to find an edge in your industry? Well, figure out what everybody else is doing by mining their websites, mining their data, aggregating it, popping it into an AI, and starting to do your own competitive intelligence But all of this requires good data hygiene. And so as we go into next year, this is actually the area we're going to be spending quite a bit of time is thinking about how do we take data from something that we don't ever think about, and in many cases just waste, into something we want to turn into an asset. What that looks like in practice is really sort of three things. One, the different ways to store data. Two, the different ways to extract, load, and transform data. And then three, the ways to visualize data so that you can get insights out of it. Now, in terms of storage, there's a lot of different ways to store things. We use BigQuery, we use MySQL, but we'll really be exploring vector databases, which are the kinds of databases that AIs use in order to generate similarity search and intelligent and custom models. The next part is how do you get data from your multiple sources, spreadsheets, databases, apps, whatever, and get them into a place where you can then start to combine the data in order to drive insights, not necessarily or exclusively within one data silo, but across your entire enterprise. For that, we're really going to continue to leverage N8N to help us with that, but we're also going to be using a tool called Airbyte, which is another open source, what's called ETL or ELT tool that does take data from one place here and moves it over there. For example, this is one Airbyte workflow we've got running right now, which takes all of our Google Analytics data and puts it into Google's BigQuery, which is a massive database, allowing us to track our Google Analytics information over time in a massive repository that we can then go and drive unique insights with, especially when we combine it with other data sources that we also store inside of BigQuery. Finally, getting information and insights out of your data, especially if you aren't a developer or a database expert, we're looking to a tool like Metabase, another open source tool that allows for you, that connects to all of your data sources and allows you to do drag and drop summaries and analysis of each of your data so that you can build dashboards in order to get insights out of your information without necessarily having to be a developer. And finally, the third technology we're paying attention to are low-code tools. While we have a great development team that can build most any app that we would need to build for our business, there is an opportunity cost to that. That opportunity cost is the time we're not working on customers or even the really complex apps that could be a competitive advantage. Tools like Buddybase allow non-developers to code apps for themselves and their businesses without having to necessarily be a developer. For example, we have this very small portal that we built in Buddybase that links to all of the appropriate resources that somebody on the team might need. They can filter that based on the particular type of resource that they're looking for, and then go directly to that resource from inside of here. These tools are great because they have drag and drop builders allowing you to build data-driven applications that do things that you find valuable for your business. So for example, we have this little app here that allows you to put a URL from an article on a website. You click extract queries and it will reverse engineer the keywords and queries that article that might cause that article to rank, and at the same time show us, based on those keywords or queries, how much volume, what competition, what cost per click, so we can tell really quickly, is this worth putting into our content plan? I have no doubt that over the course of the next year, we'll find other technologies that we think are interesting and that we ultimately end up using or trying out. And there may be some sleepers like our knowledge base that just completely transform things. But our focus this past year on AI, automation, and API integration was completely transformative, and we don't intend to stop that. We expect, though, that in the coming year, these other technologies, low-code tools, data asset management, and headless CMSs will be just as important as APIs, AI, and automation was this past year. It's important to recognize that technology is only one part of the equation, and it's not even the most important part of the equation. Ultimately, if you don't have the right people or you don't have good processes, it doesn't matter how much technology you invest in, you'll just find yourself throwing good money after bad. So as you're going into the next year, I encourage you to really take a look at your people, at your processes, and then your technology to decide where are there opportunities for you to automate. Where are there opportunities for you to take data and turn it into an asset? Where are there opportunities for you to leverage AI in new and creative ways? Where are there opportunities for you to find APIs for tools that you use often or that are industry specific in order to generate new types of data that you can then get more insight out of? And of course, if you need help with any of that, please schedule a call with me or somebody on my team. We'd love to talk with you about your business, your processes, your data, and figure out how to help you get the biggest return on your time, your technology, your people, and your processes possible. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.